Often in the spiritual community especially, I hear people say, you are the one who's gonna know what's best for you. And I'm here to tell you, that's not necessarily true. Welcome back to another video. I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life kinder and simpler. And let's start by clarifying this. I'm not saying that there isn't anybody out there who doesn't know what's best for themselves. What I'm saying is that there's this sentiment going around that says that you will know what's best for you and nobody else will. That's the vibe that people are putting off. And the thing is that often that's not actually the case. And I want to explain why. So, the truth in this statement, first of all, is that those people who are healed, those people who are emotionally intelligent and emotionally stable and emotionally healthy do often know what's best for them. And that's why this sentiment is shared as often as it is, because you're hearing it from healthy people who forget what it was like to be unhealthy. And mental health these days, it's encouraged to be mentally unhealthy. It's encouraged to normalize the diagnosis. But here's the thing. If there's one thing I've learned from my years of studying psychology in college, getting my degree in psychology, helping people, just observing people, it's that those who are mentally and emotionally unhealthy, they don't know what's best for them. And more often than not, we are encouraged to believe that we are more emotionally unhealthy than we actually are. And therefore, people are being diagnosed with things they don't actually have, because there is, as I say, a difference between mental distress versus a mental disorder versus a mental illness. They're all three very different things. And often people who are just experiencing some mental distress get sucked into the idea that they need a diagnosis when really they're just a normal person experiencing normal things. And somebody who wants money from them, who doesn't actually have their best interest in mind, sells them on a diagnosis. It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's the reason why I wanted to be a psychologist since I was young, because I was in that system as a kid, seeing psychologists and psychiatrists, and what I realized was that there were more of them out there who cared more about their pocketbooks than actually helping people. And so I said to myself, I want to be a psychologist because I want to actually help people heal. And that's why I actually ended up getting my life coaching certification instead of my license in psychology, because I didn't want to stick people on the hamster wheel of mental health nonsense. I wanted to teach people how to no longer need my help, because that's the thing, is that people who are healed, people who are healing, who have healed enough, can start to know what's best. And I help people do that. And I am so, so grateful that I heard that calling in my life and followed it. Because we can know what's best for us. But we have to heal and become emotionally intelligent first. I have met people in my lifetime who are so emotionally unstable that their learned instincts have become so bad that they've been flipped. I have met people who quite literally jump headlong into unsafe situations because their instincts tell them that those are the situations that are safe, and at the same time are scared of the safe situations because their instincts tell them they are unsafe. And this is why I have this issue with people going around telling others that they're the only ones who's going to know what's best for them, because it's not true. We are taught, especially in this day and age, to have bad learned instincts, which is why I discern the difference between your intuition and your instincts, because they're not the same. You can have learned instincts and you can have good and bad learned instincts, as where your intuition is an internal compass that's very, very, very quiet. And until you learn to shut out the outside noise, calm down the inside noise, and listen for that small but powerful voice, there are plenty of things in this world, including in your own mind, that will lead you astray when others may actually know what's better or best for you. I mean, that's the whole premise of the concept of a professional in anything, is that people specialize in this world amongst many different fields. And so on that particular topic, because they have studied it more than you, know better. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're in a place where you have emotional wounds that are unhealed. You may find yourself needing that guidance for a time until you start to reconfigure and figure out what are the bad learned instincts versus the good learned instincts versus your intuition. So in the grand scheme of things, I have no problem with the idea that we can know what's best for us above anybody else. But we have to learn to do so. It's not something that comes naturally to many of us these days. But you can learn. You can learn, which is why I have embraced the quote that I came up with: healers don't heal, they facilitate self-healing. Because if you're not doing the work, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, especially when it comes to emotional things, but even when it comes to physical things. If you think about it, I came up with this quote because I was thinking about it, and like, let's say you go to the doctor because you got a cut and they put stitches on your wound. They give you stitches. They're not healing you. They are facilitating, they are aiding your body in healing itself. And this goes for mind, body, and soul. We can learn to heal ourselves, but you have to learn what healing is first. And honestly, in my experience, those who are hell-bent on thinking they know what's best for themselves above anybody else are the ones who often know least what's best for themselves. I've shown you guys that Dunning-Kruger chart on confidence versus ignorance, where often the more confident someone is, the less they know. And then as you know more, you become less confident. And then as you learn more, you become a little more confident, but you never quite become as confident as the person who knows the least. This is a real thing, which is why those who are healed and healthy the most, who are the most wise, know that there are people out there who might know better than they in many situations. Because we all, from a car repairman to someone like myself who has invested half of their life to mental and emotional healing, learning how, and then learning how to help others do so. There are professionals in all things, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're not a professional, even when it comes to yourself. There are many things, like going to the doctor to get stitches. Would you give yourself stitches? My mom's watching this. She might try. There was that time she wanted me to give her stitches rather than go to the doctor. But for the most part, anybody else watching this wouldn't try to give themselves stitches. You know, you wouldn't try to take your car engine out and fix it if you know nothing about cars. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that you need help when it comes to your mental and emotional state or anything else. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that in certain areas of your life, someone else might know better than you and know how to help you. So, to end this, I ask, the next time you're struggling, the next time you feel lost, alone, depressed, just ask yourself to give yourself a chance by seeking someone else's advice. Even if it's a book. That was where I started. I picked up Pema Chodron's Taking the Leap. And it changed my life. It got me back to a point where I could recognize that I don't have all the answers. And that's okay. We are not going to have all the answers. And that's okay. So rather than trying to tough it out, go it alone, figure it out on your own, take some help. There's nothing wrong with that. And this goes for everything, not just with your mental and emotional state in life, but anything. There are most often times where when we try to do things on our own, we end up struggling. Or even if you're not struggling, if it would just be easier to get someone else's help. I help my significant other change the guitar strings on his guitar all the time. Not because he can't do it on his own, but because it's just easier when I help him. Sometimes it's just easier to not do it alone. Especially because you don't have to. Because you're not alone. Because at the very least, if you're watching this video, you have me. And you can reach out to me at any time. My email is always in the description. You can click that link for the free clarity call. I'm here for you. You are never alone. And on that note, Thank you guys for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to click the description below where I have many links. If you're not quite ready for that one-on-one, but you do want to start getting that little bit of help, I have so much on Patreon for those who like to self-study. And some other links down there as well. May the energies you serve you well, and let's keep making our way through.